Hello, Jack.org, and this is my video for presenting my two Jack Talk stories. The first story that I'm going to be giving is the story number one, focusing on why mental health is important for everyone to talk about. Hello, everyone. My name's Owen, as I'd already explained earlier in the presentation, and I want to talk about a time back when I was in high school. When I was in high school, me and my friends, we never really talked about any negative problems, more so in particular focusing on our own mental health. That wasn't a topic that we talked about. It wasn't something that people made fun of. It just wasn't something that had ever been talked about between us, so nobody was used to incorporating that into our daily hangouts. If somebody was having an extremely bad day, we were obviously there for them, but it was more of the day-to-day-esque stuff that we never fully talked about. So when I was in grade 11, I started to go through a bit of a rougher patch, and it bled into grade 12. And I just was not happy with who I was. I had very low self-esteem, very low confidence. I was disappointed in who I was. I didn't like the choices I was making. And because of this, I started to turn to drugs and alcohol to cope with these negative emotions. This created a downward spiral as I then became even more disappointed in myself for the fact that I was turning to these kind of negative influences and negative stimulants to try to feel better, and it would make me feel worse, and I would do them more, and I was in this kind of dark spiral of a tornado for a little while. And finally, it was the summer right after grade 12, or almost the summer right after grade 12, I was going to be going back to the camp that I work at right now, that I've been going to for years, and I was going to be a counselor again. And I was incredibly disappointed with who I had become. I didn't think that I could be a good role model for children. I hadn't seen a lot of my camp friends in a while. I was worried that they wouldn't be happy with the person that I had become, or that they would notice that something was off with me because it would be the stark difference from who I was the summer previous. And in a way, I was correct. When I got there, this one counselor who was like a big brother to me, within the first week, he noticed that something was off. He could tell during training that I wasn't the same person I was last summer. He finally pulled me aside and he asked me if I was okay. And when it first started, it was just a casual, "Are you okay? How are you doing?" And I tried to brush it off. I was trying to just, I'm good, man. Like, don't worry about it. Like, yeah, like everything was fine. It was a good year. But thankfully, he pushed and he pried and he prodded a little bit. And I was able to open up to him. I was able to explain to him what was going on. And he actually related to me and he talked to me about an experience that he had. And he gave me some resources that I could connect with. And this was the first time that I actually felt like I could relate to somebody else, especially somebody that I admired and looked up to, that was going through an experience similar to me. And after this, I found that it became a lot easier for me to talk to people. Not right away. At first, I was only really talking to him. But slowly over time, as I got comfortable talking to him about how I was feeling, about my mental health, that kind of bled into all other facets of my life. And I slowly, over time, became more comfortable talking to everyone about my mental health, which I hope is something that all of you, at some point in your lives, can also become comfortable with. I want you all to be comfortable to talk to whoever you would like about your mental health, both positive and negative. We also don't just need to talk about the negative aspects of our mental health. We can also talk about when we're having a fantastic mental health day, because I'm sure that'd be a nice change for some people to hear as well. So that would be my first Jack Talk, and then I would segue it back into the rest of the presentation. My second Jack Talk story is the one focusing on mental health, it is important to learn how to be there for each other. So this is story number 2, and it is beginning now. Hello everyone, my name is Owen, just like I said earlier in the presentation, and I want to tell you a little bit of a story about the time that I learned why it is important to be there for each other. I was a Don at university, and in my second year, I became really good friends with this one guy that I'm still friends with today. And we lived in the same building. We were honestly probably under 100 feet from each other. We got along really well. At the start of the year and for the entire first semester, me and this guy would see each other probably every single day, at least once, if not basically just spend all day together. We would hang out constantly. We would do homework together. We would do work things together. We were just we still are, great of friends. However, in second semester, things started to take a little bit of a confusing turn for me. He wasn't hanging out as much. He was staying in his room more. He would binge watch shows on Netflix. At first I thought, okay, maybe he's just trying to focus on his school because I knew his grades weren't the best. Then I started to wonder, okay, maybe we weren't that good of friends. I mean, I guess we'd only known each other for about 4 months. I started to overthink it a bit, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to give him his space. I don't want to bother him. But eventually those weeks, they turned into a month. They turned into 2 months. And finally one day, It had been about a week this time since I had seen him, because I would still probably see him about once a week. And I went to his house and I knocked on his door, and he came out and told me that he'd just been in bed all day. And I finally looked at him. I was like, man, lay it on me. You got to tell me what's going on. I don't get it. We used to hang out all the time. What is happening right now? And he kind of laughed it off at first. And I was like, no, like, I'm serious. Like, you're telling me you've just spent all day in bed? It's a Tuesday. Talk to me. I'm here for you. What is happening? And this is when he finally actually opened up to me about his mental health, and I tried my best to be there for him, and I'd like to think that I did an all right job. I mean, looking back on it, there was definitely things that I could have done a little bit better. I know I offered probably a bit too much advice. I tried to relate it a lot to my own experiences and what worked for me, which definitely can work as suggestions, but it's also not fair for me to just assume that his problems and struggles would be the exact same as mine, and that was definitely what I was steering him towards. However, in general, I think he just needed somebody to show that they actually took notice that something was wrong, because he said nobody else was even acknowledging that he had a problem, and this was something that had been going on with him for at least 2 months at this point. And I think that was the biggest thing that I did for him, is I just showed him that I notice you're not okay right now, and I am fine with you talking to me about it. I'm fine sitting here with you if you need me. I'm fine either offering you a distraction or lying on your couch with you as well and watching a movie too, if that's what you need right now. And this actually helped make our friendship stronger, and I think helped make both of us more comfortable in our own mental health as well, because it matured our relationship to the point that we both could be there for each other when we needed to, and we could talk to each other about it when we had a bad day. We also, both being Dons, knew the whole list of resources that were available to us, so we also understood when certain things were out of our hands and we needed to push them on to another resource, and when we would need to encourage each other, hey man, I think it's time that you actually book an appointment with a therapist, or maybe you call the kids helpline, or things like that. That was definitely the most positive aspect of our relationship. So we were able to push ourselves kind of out of our comfort zones and make sure each other got the help that we needed. And that is what I hope for each of you today. I hope that you can, over time, learn how to be there for each other and also allow people to be there for you and be that support system for you, because I know how incredibly positive that experience was for me, and I really hope it's just as positive for you guys. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your presentation. And Jack.org, I hope you like my Jack stories. Thank you, and have a great day.